Good day, everyone. We are now in the second part of our lesson in the different key concepts in ethics. Today, we will discuss the difference between the moral and non-moral standards, as well as we will enumerate the different dilemmas in ethics. Before we will proceed in our lesson, let us have our short review of our past lesson. Last meeting, we already identified the difference between ethics and morality. Ethics refers to our subjective judgment on one's human conduct or behavior. Our ethical judgment is usually based on our reflective consciousness decision and must not base on one's own desire. Wherein, before we do the action or our judgment, we rationally think about it. Ethics is intended only for human beings because man has the capacity to reason out. In the other hand, morality is based on the code of conduct or standards in our society. It is usually based on the given or implemented rules or law in our society, such like killing, stealing, and other forms of crimes are prohibited. Moreover, we discuss also the different benefits of rules in our society as what stated in your handout 1. Rules is important to us because it protects us from other forms of immoral behavior, such like depravity and oppressions. However, not all rules in our society covers all the problems in human conduct. Indeed, sometimes we need to use our ethical judgment in judging one's action or our own behavior, which is also morally inclined. Now, we will proceed on our lesson for today. First, let us discuss the moral and non-moral standards. We almost know that in our society, we have general and specific rules that controls the human behavior. Before we will proceed on the lesson, let us watch this video first. The video shown to us that the two big animals signify to the non-moral standards, wherein both of them have their own beliefs that cause conflict to each other. In the other hand, the two little animals signifies the moral standards, wherein they follow the general rules of all by sharing the bridge to each other. Based from the scenario, what do we mean about moral and non-moral standards? According to your handout, moral standards refers to the norms which we have about the types of action which we believe to be morally acceptable and morally unacceptable. Specifically, moral standards deal with matters which can either seriously harm or benefit human beings. The validity of moral standards comes from the line of reasoning that was taken to back or support them, and thus are not able to be formed or changed by particular bodies of authority. Some ethicists equate moral standards with moral values and moral principles. In other words, moral standards is a belief of right and wrong action that is good to all. It is a belief or rules that everybody obeys it, such like killing and stealing is prohibited. Meanwhile, non-moral standards refers to the rules that are unrelated to moral or ethical considerations. Basic examples of non-moral standards include rules of etiquette, fashion standards, rules in games, and various house rules. Technically, religious rules, some traditions, and legal statutes, example laws and ordinances, are non-moral principles, though they can be ethically relevant depending on some factors and contexts. In other words, non-moral standards is a belief or code of conduct that is right and wrong in a certain group of individuals or group of people. It is usually unrelated to moral standards. There are 6 characteristics of moral standards that can differentiate further from non-moral standards. You can refer its explanations on the handout 1. The first one, moral standards involve serious wrongs or significant benefits. Second one, moral standards ought to be preferred to other values. The third one, moral standards are not established by authority figures. The fourth one, moral standards have the trait of universality. The fifth one, moral standards are based on impartial considerations. And the sixth one, moral standards are associated with special emotions and vocabulary. Now, let us discuss the 3 types of moral dilemma or ethical dilemma. According to your handout, ethical dilemma, also known as moral dilemma. It is a conflict in which you have to choose between 2 or more actions and have moral reasons for choosing each action. What is common to the 2 well-known cases is conflict. In each case, an agent regards him or herself as having moral reasons to do each of the 2 actions, but doing both is not possible. The key features of a moral dilemma are these. First, the agent is required to do each of 2 or more actions. The second one, the agent can do each of the action, but the agent cannot do both or all of the action. In a moral dilemma, the agent thus seems condemned to moral failure. No matter what he or she does, he or she will do something wrong or fail to do something that he or she ought to do. There are 3 levels of moral dilemmas. First, personal dilemmas. The second one, organizational dilemmas. And the third one, structural dilemmas. To understand the 3 levels of moral dilemmas, let us watch this video.
Moral dilemma. Moral dilemmas are situations where persons, who are called moral agents in ethics, are forced to choose between 2 or more conflicting options, but neither of which resolves the situation in a morally accepted manner. The 3 types of moral dilemmas: personal dilemma, organizational dilemma, and systematic dilemma.
Ang personal dilemma ay ito ang mga sitwasyon kung saan ang isang individual ay may pagpipilian na gagawin sa pagitan ng dalawang opsyon. Ito ang hinanda naming halimbawa ng personal dilemma.
Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Oh, hello. Oh, mahal. Bye.
Hello! Virgil! Asan ka na? Ako'y manganganak na!
Ano? Kumangan ka na? O siya, sige. Pauwi na ako yan. Oh, hello. Hi.
Hello? Kuya? Si Bunso to.
Oh, ikaw pala ako doon.
Inatake si tatay, di ko alam kung ano gagawin ko. Punta ka dito. Baka kung ano mangyari kay tatay.
Ano? Ginahata ka si tatay? Hello?
Ang organizational ethics ay ang panuntunan na sinusunod sa isang organisasyon. Ang mga halimbawa ukol dito ay ang mga sumusunod.
Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Hello, sir?
Hello. Okay. Natapos mo na ba yung report yung pinapagawa ko sa'yo?
Pasensya na po, hindi ko po natatapos yung pinagagawa niyo.
Ano? Hanggang ngayon wala pa rin. Di ba sinabi ko sa'yo hanggang ngayong araw lang yan? Kung hindi mo magagawa, ipapatanggal kita.
Hello, sir. Good morning po.
Hello, RJ? Yung pinapagawa ko sa'yo nakaraan, asan na?
Pasensya na po, sir. Di ko po natatapos yung pinapagawa niyo sa akin ng isang linggo.
Ha? Di mo pa nagagawa? Di ba sabi ko sa'yo ngayon yung kailangan? Pag ay hindi mo na ibigay ngayon, papatanggal kita sa company na to.
Sinong pipiliin ko?
Systematic Dilemma. Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Tapusin gamit ang lethal injection.
Tapusin gamit ang lethal injection.
Tapusin gamit to.
Pasensya na kayo. Hindi yan makatao.
Tama lang yan para sa'yo.
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 Ang pagpatay ay masama mga anak.
Systematic dilemma. Ang systematic dilemma ay ang pagpili at pagkilos sa isang individual sa maling paraan. Ang kilos nito na nakakasakit sa mga taong nasa paligid niya, na kadalasang humahantong sa paglabag nito sa batas. Ang mga gawaing pininiwalaan niyang tama dahil mas nangingibabaw sa kanya ang maling pananaw sa buhay.
Indeed, there are times in our life that we will be situated in a certain situation that we need to choose or to decide. In choosing one's action, we need to ethically equate the situation of what we must opt to do. In other words, we need to think carefully before we will decide what action we will take. That's all our topic for this day. and some questions will be entertained after this video.